everybody, to another episode of the Play Paintball podcast. I'm your host, Jbird, and with me, my good friend and sports coach, Aaron Brown. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about paintball with regard to it being a spectator sport, right? So, is paintball a spectator sport, right? And I think ultimately, one of the things that we need to do to get paintball to take the next step, right, in the evolution of sports, is to bring in more crowds, more spectators, so that we can get more money, right? People paying tickets, they're buying the jerseys, they're spending money on merchandise. Ultimately, that's how most professional teams make money, right? The ticket sales at the stadiums and all that stuff. And I feel like, in my personal opinion, I guess, paintball has a very small demographic. And that's why sometimes, when people say, oh, well, paintball's not a spectator sport, but what is a spectator sport, right? So we looked it up, and it's a spectator sport is a sport that is viewed by many, right?
Yeah, it's a spectator sport it's an expression, right? It's a term used to describe like sporting events by spectators. They go to them and they attend them, right? From the sideline, from the stands, pretty much, right? And that can be any sport, right?
Yeah.
Right. Any, right? What qualifies a sport, right? Competition, winning a prize, right? And that's paintball, right?
So we kind of talked about this, and would you qualify game shows as a sport?
Yes and no. One, no, you're not competing but yeah, I would, because you're competing, right?
Yeah.
You could win a prize.
Yeah.
Let's compare game shows to sports. You got viewers, which would be spectators or fans, as you have in sports. Spectators are fans. The crowd is cheering for the game show. The spectators are cheering for the sporting event. You win prizes in game shows. You win prizes in sporting events. You lose in the game show. You lose in sporting events.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can see what.
So I guess it's competitive. It brings the community. It brings, the social awareness of things. It brings sports that I can remember, it's been here since ancient days, right?
Yeah.
Competing. So,
since the beginning of time, huh?
Since I've personally checked Greece and Rome, they would put on sporting events for the community,
for the entertainment,
for leisure, for all different practices, just all of it having to do with bringing the community together and enjoying each other's company or being social. It's just it's a thing of the past.
Yeah, well, I guess is it a sport? That's probably even a whole nother.
It's paintball a sport?
It's paintball a sport. Yeah, paintball, in my opinion, paintball is a sport.
It's a sport.
There's no two ways about it. There's competition, you're playing, it's a game, there's teams, all that, there's rules, it's standardized, there's all that sort of stuff. But some people would argue that it's not a sport, right? Some people don't even know that it's a sport. Some people, you tell them hey, did you realize that there's competitive paintball, or I'm on a paintball team, and they're like, you're on a team? That's the thing. People don't really understand the depth of what it is, right?
Of what a sport is.
I guess what a sport is in general, right?
Maybe because it's not on TV.
Yeah, but I mean
that's a lot of the problem. It's not advertised.
Is cornhole a sport?
I don't know what that is.
Cornhole is the boards, and they've got beanbags.
Oh yeah, I know what that is. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a sport?
Would you consider that a sport?
People watch it. People cheer. You lose. You win. Is there a prize? Sure, it's a sport.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a sport can be, okay, is the spelling bee, is that not a sport? You got to practice. You can lose. You can win.
And you can get sweaty when you when you get the hard work.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's ultimately what it boils down to, right? But I think the big difference that maybe sets paintball, that is kind of holding paintball back from being that next level. This is again just my personal opinion, but I feel that with paintball it's a lot harder to follow, right? As somebody from the outside looking in, right? I don't watch. I played some football in high school, ran track, played some soccer a little bit older in life as like co-ed type soccer for fun, and watch a lot of soccer. Those sports are very easy to understand, like to get the gist of it, right? You have usually the sport, the viewing that you're doing, right? You're really technically you're following the ball, right? You're watching the guy that's dribbling down the field with the ball. Yeah, for the most part though, right? Like you're not watching this guy dribble down the field.
I mean,
you're
right,
wondering
right.
like, oh, well, I wonder what the goalie over there is doing on the other side, right? You're not doing that. With paintball, you have a 5-on-5 team, and any one of those players at any given moment could make a crucial play, right? You could have somebody on the Dorito side run up, and at the same time, a guy on the snake side bunker somebody out, and those are two. So it's hard to like watch those two plays going on at the same time. So unless you play the sport and are aware of what's going on, it's harder to follow. But I mean, and this is something that we kind of talked about the other day.
As you talk, I get the gist of it being like, no, it's not football, but just like football, because it seems like you're saying that while this game is going on, there are individual players playing against each other while they play on a team.
Right.
Just like football, right? The linemen have to block. You don't have a good football team if you don't have big boys up front.
Yeah, but okay.
So they have to win.
100%.
So they have to win that battle.
Okay.
Right. So in paintball, your teammate would have to win the battle between him and his opponent.
Right.
To help you not get hit and you win your battle against your opponent. Right.
Right.
So each player has to take care of their responsibilities. Right. So it's like it's kind of like.
But
it's a team sport. It's a team sport.
It is a team sport, 100%. I get, yeah, and that's where, to me, that's where the disconnect is, right? Because even though there's that going on, like say in football or even in basketball, right? It's a smaller court. Usually you're following the guy that has the ball, right? You're watching what the guy, and then if the guy makes a really cool pass or like a whatever, you're following the ball. Oh, where'd that ball go to? Oh, and now it's in his hand, and now he's going boom, shoots the three, and you're watching that play develop, right? Okay. You could technically be watching the Dorito guy, and you're like, oh man, he's about to move, and then you miss like completely what the guy on the other side of the field is doing,
which was
important.
Yeah.
So he's the one that blows up, and so it can develop so quickly. And you can miss it, right? So I feel that that's where the disconnect, where people don't necessarily watch, like you don't get the fans, the understanding of it, right? It's a lot more difficult to understand the complexity of it, and maybe that's what I think so. If you watch the NXL now, like so. The NXL is the professional league. NXL, the National X-Ball League. And that is the professional level of paintball, right? Now, the NXL hosts events, right? So they host 5 events throughout the year, including the World Cup at the end of the year. They usually have major events, but it's not just the professionals playing. So you have the Lone Star, the NXL Lone Star event, right? And you have all divisions playing, right? You have division, youth division.
It's like a track meet.
It's like a track meet, yeah.
It's like a whole bunch of events all day.
All
Different,
week.
all
It start. I mean, basically, it'll start Thursday. That's when like the professional players will show up. They'll start playing some scrimmages.
So what, Thursday, Friday?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then you play your championships on Sunday. So you try to get to Sunday, right? If you can make it to the Sunday club, or if you can make it to Sunday, that means that you did well, and you're in contention to win the tournament, right? So it's a 4-day tournament, right? I think Thursdays usually is reserved for practice. You can show up, you can practice on the field with other teams, and it's really just to kind of get, work the jitters out, you know what I mean? But then Friday starts game day, right? You start playing. And then Saturday you have the next round, and so on and so forth. So maybe even that right there is something that can kind of be a hindrance, if you will, to helping the sport develop. Because I feel like unless you play paintball and you have any sort of interest in the teams that are there, like there's no reason why you don't have World Cup Sunday.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not like the NFL where they have that. And I hate that we just continue to go back and forth with it. But if you really think about it, NFL is probably the epitome of professional sports as far as viewership. I mean, you have baseball too, right? The World Series, and the World Series is played out. The whole championship thing is played out over a couple of months. I feel like, starting with the first round of playoffs to the division champion to the all that league championship, and then of course the World Series, right? And the World Series is played out over several matches, right?
I didn't start watching baseball until later in my life.
Really?
Just I was football, track, and basketball. I'd say basketball only because I played, but I didn't focus too much. But track and football, right? And when I did get a bat in my hand for the first time, I was terrible at swinging. Dude, oh my God, so embarrassed. And I'm just thinking,
what did you play? Like baseball?
No, when I got drafted in Detroit, we had like a fundraiser. My teammate,
charity,
charity, and like, I can play ball, right? Football, but the ball came to me, dude. Swing and miss, swing and miss, swing and miss, and like, that's when I knew, like, man, all my life I've never really focused on other sports. Even though I'm good at the sports I played, there's other sports I could have played, possibly could have been good, but it just highlighted that, baseball was something that I never tried, I didn't know much about, and I like it now.
Yeah.
Right. I enjoy watching. I'm a spectator.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Even though I don't play it, I'm a fan of it because I enjoy the. It's hard to hit a ball moving that fast.
Oh,
off
and
a
it's
ball,
not just
off a
fast.
bat. That's a bat that's only that big around. Consistently hit it. That's hard.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the hardest things to do in sports. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
Yeah.
I would probably.
And I played at the highest level of football. And yeah, it's hard to play on that level, but that involves like, speed, which you can get faster, right? Because there's more science to you getting faster. But hitting a ball, that takes some serious technique.
Yeah, well, and it's not, the ball's not coming in the same spot
Yeah, it
every
can,
time. Like, have you seen the pitches in slow mo sometimes?
Yeah,
it's like it's almost like they got a remote control thing, and they're just like.
Which, how do you even
don't
learn how to even throw a ball?
So, from what my understanding is, I think what they do is they learn to watch. They watch the pitcher's hand. They watch the pitcher's hand. The batter will watch the pitcher's hand, and will.
Isn't it 90 feet? Or is that from home to first? Yeah. Or 45 feet?
Probably that sounds about right, because it's like half the distance. Yeah. Either way, it's not that far. And it's mere seconds. I mean, we throwing that ball, a fastball, 98 miles an hour.
I mean, it comes from behind their back, in front, and then over their head.
Have you seen, or when they do those like really weird pitches, they're like doing some weird stuff
off the mound, like sideways, yeah.
But no, I think a lot of it they guess. It's like it's an educated guess. Now, baseball people don't get mad at me because I'm not really
guessing how low.
So I'm assuming very similar to. I'm no baseball expert, bro. So don't even
I got you.
Anything that I'm about to say, don't hold me to it because it is probably not true.
I'm about to say, bro. Yes, bro.
Where's my guest speaker? But the way that I feel that it works is, you watch film.
That's what I was going to say.
The same way you watch film,
a
picture.
Yeah.
So you watch a picture and you start to understand their tendencies and what pitches they like to throw.
Even when they throw them, like what inning.
Yeah. So
That's
granted,
important.
I became a professional baseball coach when I watched the World Series. And I was like, why didn't you swing at that? Oh, you should have hit that, But it's one of those things where the more you watch it, the more you actually start to see like the pitches, like the slider
coming
and
out,
the curveball and the sinker and the changeup and all the other names that they have for them. And that was pretty cool to see. Well, of course, Astros just won the World Series, right? So I was definitely watching them.
That's pretty tight, man.
Yeah.
That's two times.
That's two times.
That's two times.
Two times that they won.
Two times.
Yeah.
That I can remember.
Wait, didn't they? And then they went 5 times in a row.
They won two. They won like.
They've won twice.
4 years ago.
They've won twice. They've gone to the World Series. I want to say it was 5 times in a row.
I'm not a baseball guy.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a baseball fan whenever they're
I'm
in
a
the World
fan, but
Series.
not a baseball guy.
Yeah, by all means. But yeah, so it's again. But look at how much money that sport brings in, right? The spectatorship that is involved in the World Series, sold out stadiums, and we're talking $100 a ticket for like on the cheap side. I don't think it was even. I think $100 is probably short.
Yeah, that's
right?
short. That's real short.
Real short.
That's real short.
Right, and that's probably up in the nosebleeds where you got binoculars watching.
At least
the game.
1,000.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you can only imagine how much those those seats right behind the home plate and all that stuff. Right.
I know for the Super Bowl, tickets are right there on the 50. 8,900, 10 grand.
That's a lot of bread.
That's a lot of bread.
That's a lot of bread.
Money. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money /
Bread.
AKA bread.
Yeah, man. Was in the league and stuff like that. Just that was a new experience, and just playing in front of those. The NFL. I mean, you got college, right? You got those.
College is another big one.
Yeah,
too.
you got those fans, but the NFL, they're diehard fans, and I think it's because in college, all of us athletes and young men and women are going to leave in 4 years, right? So it changes for us. But in the NFL or any professional sports team, you live in that city, and you get a good athlete and you get good games, you start to build right with your, with that team, Dallas fans, 49ers fans, all fans across the world, you start to build within that community. For example, who just won the Super Bowl? Mahomes, right? So Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes. So if you happen to be young coming into Kansas City, learning about the football.
Oh, yeah, I mean this is his second.
This is the second time.
Second time. And he's young.
He's a
young.
So
how old is he?
I think this is his 4th year into the league. 4th. And this is his 2nd time going and winning. So, but being that young, you grow up, you say, oh, Patrick Mahomes, this year, next year, the year after year after year after year. So you create that fanship type camaraderie within. Yeah, you become I really want to go to the games. I really want to see him play.
You
I'm
want to buy
excited.
the hat.
The hat, all that
You
stuff.
want to wear the keychain. You want the logo on your coffee cup.
So all that stuff like boost, spectator,
But ultimately,
coming out and viewing the games,
it also boosts the income.
Yeah, ultimately,
Right.
yeah.
So it boosts the income for the teams, which then in turn boosts the income for the players, right? Now, you have a ton of money. I don't even know what kind of money goes into a team, but I can imagine that it's plus of the millions, right?
Hundreds of millions.
Yeah, and you're
Not
having
starting off at hundreds of millions, not even in the 5 and 10s and 20s. No, 3-digit millions.
3-digit millions.
for sure.
Huh? Okay.
Easy. I know the
And
NFL gets
a lot of that chunk gets paid out to the players too, right? Not all of it. Obviously, there's like a professional sports program is deep, right? You have trainers, you have
it goes deep.
staff, you
That
have-
social ecosystem
Mhm.
it runs deep.
Yeah. And that's ultimately what I would like to see happen within the world of paintball. I think we're still very far from that, but it's not unattainable, right? I think we're looking at the first professional football player got paid $500, which to play. This is the first professional football player. He was the first person to get paid to play in a championship, and it was $500 back in the day. Like I'm talking 1800s.
Oh, bro.
Okay.
Bro, chill.
This is but that's $500, right?
Back in the day.
Back in the day. Now that's what is
all
that
right.
equivalent to? There was a number there. Again, I was doing a little bit of research on it. It was like equivalent to like $200 and something thousand, right?
Today?
Today. Like $500.
Well, I mean, to play paintball back then.
No, football.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
In
okay.
1800. Oh, we're talking about football real quick. I know I kind of jumped a little bit, but back the very first professional football player back in 1800 and some change got paid $500 to play for this one team, right?
The year.
I don't know if it was a year or if it was the championship game or what.
Hopefully it's a game.
Yeah. Well, because again, think about it.
500 for
Equivalent to today's money. Like if you take our economy now, take inflation, all that, $500 back then is equivalent to about $230,000. I think is what the number. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it was something in that range.
Significant amount of money.
That's a significant amount of money to play a game. Right? That is a professional.
Back then it was,
Athlete.
and now it is.
And now it is. I mean, if I got paid $230,000
Quarter
a year
million?
to play paintball, I'd be pretty happy with
You'd be
that.
straight.
For sure. But if we could get like $1 million a year to play paintball, what was the contract that we were talking about the other day? I was talking to somebody about it. There was like a $320 million contract. I want to say it was soccer. Either way, it was for like 5 years, $320 million.
I think that was a soccer player, a young soccer player.
Yeah.
A young cat who got that
For
money.
5 years, $320 million, right? To play professional sports. Now, keep in
To
mind.
play professional soccer.
Soccer.
Not sports. Yeah, because not
Soccer.
all sports pay like that.
No.
Yeah.
But something, I mean, what's the highest paid, well, maybe you don't know, but what's the highest paid contract in the NFL?
I know.
Like off the top of your head, who can you think of that's probably making,
Okay, when
a
I was
good
playing,
contract?
Calvin Johnson, he didn't see it because he retired beforehand. But they were trying to extend his contract until like 2019. When this was, they were trying to extend it to 2019 and give him like 121 million. Which he didn't play it out because he retired beforehand. But I remember when I was playing Albert Hainsworth, he played, I forget what team he played for, I think the Cardinals, but he was a big boy defensive tackle. He cashed in 100 million. I think right now,
How many years?
Watson, I don't know, I think Deshaun Watson in Cleveland, I think he's making 200 plus.
Well, good for them, dude. But see, okay, so it just brings me back to Okay, so is paintball a spectator sport? And how do we get paintball to become that spectator sport? How do we get people to care?
But get
right,
more people
enough,
involved.
Right, not just the people that play, right? I watch the NXL, but I play, right? But my wife's not like, hey, is San Diego Dynasty going to beat Houston Heat this time around? Or, you know, she's not really invested. Well, I don't know how invested she was in the Super Bowl either, but, you know.
Bro, I think it's because, like we were talking about earlier, the sports that we are familiar with go back all the way to, like, ancient days.
That's true, too.
You know? And
we're still young.
Yeah, right? So
80s. 1980s, I think.
Yeah. I'm an 85 baby.
No, we don't give out our
But
my social security number, by the way, is 7.
But like, just think about that. Like, yeah, is paintball a sport? Check.
Yes, 100%.
Spectator sport? Check.
Yes.
Do you win prizes? Check.
Yes.
Do you win money? Check. Can you get hurt? Check. You got hurt.
Who got hurt?
Hamstring? No. You don't count that no more?
Okay, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about Bruno, okay? But no, so that was because the other day when we were talking about sports athleticism, I think it was episode 2. We've only had 3 episodes, right? This being number 3, so we were talking about the hamstring, and then that's why I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
definitely the hamstring.
So you already admitted it.
Yeah. That was a tough one. But I think that was just lack of stretching, I think, and hydration was another thing.
Yeah, bro, but that's the problem. I can tell from playing sports, being an athlete, being a fan of many sports, enjoying watching them, even trying to play them in my leisure time. What holds paintball back from becoming a nationally recognized, legit, and I say legit, I have to take that word back.
Appeal to the common, like to the masses.
Everybody knows.
Everyone
about
knows
the Super Bowl about
this weekend is
you know
the next event or what have you. And I think that is coming along, right? So now we have, I think, so Tom Cole is the owner, head guy with the NXL, right? And he's doing a lot on his side to continue to promote the sport and grow the sport. I mean, he travels to all these cities and, you know, talks to the commissioners and the people and the mayors and all that, and host tournaments in their city, right? The same way that, you know, the FIFA goes and figures out where they're going to host the next World Cup and the Super Bowl and all that stuff, right? So he's doing all of that. And one of the things that he's working on in not just legitimizing the sport, because it's already a legitimate sport, but in helping to just further advance the sport, is this past World Cup, and I want to say the event before, they rolled out the WNXL, so the women's NXL, right?
Oh, of course,
right. And well, because from what I've heard, in order for one of the long time questions has always been, how can paintball become an Olympic sport? Right? Like, why is paintball not an Olympic sport?
That would be nice.
Right? I mean, you have
all
sorts of stuff going on in the Olympics.
And it's every 4 years.
And it's every 4 years. So why couldn't paintball be an Olympic sport, right? Could you play, like, you know, there is a Team USA, you know, like all that stuff. But, you know, going back to that, like, so that I feel like is kind of the next step, the next progression in getting the sport to be legitimized to the vast majority of people. And it takes also just mass education, right?
More people playing at a young age too.
More people playing at a young age, which is one of the things that, again, I keep focusing on here. But just educating the masses on the world of competitive paintball, right? I do my part by, I put every day when we're open, I have NXL games playing, you know, whether they're old or current. If we have a live event going, it's on, and people are like, "Oh, is that going on?" I'm like, yeah, that's going on right now. These are professional teams, and 90% of the time I get, "Oh, professional paintball."
It's the first time they even were introduced.
It's like, wow, they just got their mind blown, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, it's a thing. There's professional players, and there's sponsorships, and there's teams, and Houston has a team called Houston Heat, and the top team in the league is San Diego Dynasty, and then I try to kind of put it into football terms, and they're like, oh, I didn't realize that was a thing, right? And so it takes everybody within the paintball industry to do their part, and I think that for the most part everybody's on the same train, or everybody's at least pointed in the right direction,
going the right direction.
I don't necessarily think we have too many people that are going against the grain, but it's something that I feel I'm passionate about, and I really want and look forward to, mainly because you want to have an outlet for kids, right? You want them to. All right, so we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're back. We left off with the kids needing an outlet to look forward to, right? To be able to play the sport and to have really just an opportunity to make some real money, money that they can live off of playing the sport of paintball.
Just like other athletes.
Just like other athletes. But then also, I think we were vaguely touching on, and maybe we can talk about this on the next episode, but paintball is actually starting to do college sports again, right?
Yeah,
so colleges are now having paintball teams, so there'll be like A&M for sure.
That's cool, man.
Yeah,
that's cool. Especially the whole college experience. You really can enjoy that sport on that level, and it not be professional yet, but just the experience in college playing that sport. That'd be cool
for sure. Yeah. Well, and get your college paid for. Like maybe
get
a
degree,
and get a degree while you're at it.
That's the sweetest deal of it all. Yeah.
Hopefully a full ride scholarship, but probably like enough to buy some ramen noodles for the 4 years.
Well, now, but hey, you talking right now, young athletes. I've seen quarterbacks, maybe some other athletes, but quarterbacks specifically, they are getting paid top dollar as seniors, like 5-star, 4-star athletes are getting paid top dollar. So when I was in college, we had like $800 stipend per month living off campus, and that was a struggle. Three to a house, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have those problems no more now, right? So it's starting to evolve. Other opportunities are opening up for new sports. New money's coming. New things are changing. So we'll see, man.
Yeah. Well, maybe on the next episode we'll talk about that. Let's go ahead and take this opportunity real quick. We're going to talk about, we have our 3 sponsors for the show. We have Reskill, Upskill. Again, hit them up on Instagram for your athletic development
For
needs.
all your athletic development training, sports training, losing weight, getting fast, jumping high, technique, all that great stuff.
For sure. And then, of course, Splat Zone, indoor paintball. We're just bringing paintball to the common man here, and the message is simple: it's play paintball.
Play paintball.
Get out, try it, play it. If you like it, stick with it. Come learn a little bit more about the sport. Hit us up on Instagram at @splat_Houston on Instagram and on pretty much every other social media. And then we have
Reskill_upskill.
Reskill_upskill on Instagram. And then, of course, our sponsor, Gangster Paintball. You see Coach AB here rocking the beanie. But they've got the freshest paintball gear here in the game. Come by. We have their merchandise here at Splat. You can also go to their website, gangsterpb.com, or check out their Instagram, which is also at Gangster Paintball on Instagram. So thanks again for watching, guys. We really appreciate the continued support. We look forward to keeping on bringing on new shows for you. If you have any recommendations, if you have any topics that we have touched on and maybe you'd like to hear us elaborate more a little bit, feel free to drop it in the comments. And then don't forget, Play Paintball Podcast on YouTube. Like, subscribe, hit the alert button so every time we post a new video, you get that alert. You can come check us out. And again, thank you for coming, and don't forget to play paintball.